How's it going, everybody? Today we check out the aftermath of the show we built last week, and it actually went fine. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a early stream today. I have a surprise event starting at 2 p.m. my time, so 2 p.m. Eastern today. So I won't be able to stream starting at 1:30 like we're usually doing. I'll probably be on my way to my event. So I decided to enjoy a morning coffee with you guys, setting up the studio, getting ready. We're gonna have some good time. We're gonna take a look at basically what happened since we programmed a show. I know a lot of people requested me to basically give you a before and after shot of what we program versus what we end up with. Good morning. So yeah, this is what we're gonna do today. We're gonna check some of that stuff out. I kind of remember what I did or my usual starting point, and we're gonna take a look at what we end up with on that setup. That show I did last Friday, not mixed up with Saturday. Sorry. Okay, let's go. Let's go with what happened over my weekend first, so you guys will understand why I don't speak English, why I really need a big coffee mug this morning, and why my ID might not be the most coherent you'll ever heard on this channel. Not that it usually is, but it might be just a tiny bit worse today. I just finished 2 days of streaming. Well, actually, Thursday I did a setup at the Montreal Comic Con. Friday I went out doing this show. Saturday I went back to the Comic Con. I did a Twitch stream. I was doing sound for a Twitch stream, and same thing yesterday. Yesterday was a even earlier stream. We finished at 4 p.m. the stream, wrap up, left about 7 p.m. Started the day way too early, so I'm a little beat up of Comic Con, and man, Comic Con is a weird thing. I'm not used. I'm used to nerds, but not that kind of nerds. And it's like, what? Like, what kind of vibe is this? It's a different vibe. It's a different vibe. Let me make sure that I have the chat going. What's up? What's up? What's up? Hi. Am I the problem? Am I like Taylor Swift? Am I the problem? It's me? I don't think so. But the chat recently has been a problematic thing for me on this channel. I'm stubborn to use. Hold on. I'm really stubborn to use the social media app because we're streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. And there we go. Now I see it. Did you guys just wrote that down, or good morning? Good morning from California. Oh, it's early in California. Hold on, let me get back into my stuff. Let me say hi to everybody first. Robert, hi. Indida, California friend, hi. You probably have a nicer weather than we do today. Rob, try visiting it for fun. All the events, 3 days in a row. My son love it. Oh, man. I don't know how you do that. Charlie, what's up? Good to be back with you, man. I'm okay. For everybody's watching in replay, I'm so sorry that I had to do this that early, but it's the only time that I have. And my promise is gonna do my best to do the stream. I'm gonna do my best to stream at the most accurate time, but doing my best is a compromise of not being always perfect and not be always at the same time. This is what we have to deal with. So basically, yes, after 3 days of Comic-Con, a show in between, and not enough sleep, man, today's gonna be a long day because I have another event. Like I said, it's gonna be a circus show that I'm gonna do sound, light, and whatever, because apparently people know that I'm good at doing pretty much everything when it comes to sound. I've worked my way out into the weeds of Grandame 3, so I kind of know what I'm doing, and I kind of am able to do a show with those things. So yeah, you kind of guess the kind of day, corporate event kind of day. It's gonna be a corporate event. Oh, I should have a coffee mug that says that. Today's gonna be a corporate event kind of day. Doesn't mean anything, but it also means a lot. Yeah, early because you need to make show file on the kids. Yeah. How do you know Grandame 3? I have a friend who's a moderator on my channel that actually showed me how to use MA3. Really nice guy. He's not really available anymore. He's really busy touring around the world. He's touring with a country artist right now, so sounds like a nice guy. Meh, I don't know. Not always a nice guy. When he's driving his motorbike, he's not always a nice guy. But otherwise, most of the time, lovely hey-hole. We'll have a safe trip in Toronto. Bon trip à Toronto, mon chum. For those of you who don't know, this is my friend Guillaume. He's the light guy that I've been working with for a long time. One of my best friends, guy that I love. Send the love. Apparently I'm old school doing this. It's something with whatever that I cannot do with fingers to do a heart now. It's like picking up the phone, you know. I'm picking up the phone like this, where kids picking up the phone like this, and the newer kids just don't pick up the phone, so not happening anymore. They just like giving a call, or they don't call, they just text. Anyhow, okay, enough of fooling around. Some people in California have a show to build, some people have planes to take. We're just gonna take a look at what happened on this show here. Let me start by the beginning. Let me start with bass drum. This is what we end up with. Wave Transient Designer, I end up not using it. The kick was sounding good by itself. I didn't have to play around with it much. It was just working, and it was just working really well. And if you excuse me, I'm just gonna refocus that console. There we go. Feels a little better to have the knobs on the side. So Transient Designer on, but not used. Congrats, man. Kick, all we had to do, we had plenty of sub, and actually I'm gonna show you something that I did after that, speaking of sub. Compression, gain it until I hit the needle the way I wanted to. Mwah, amazing. Gain plus 12 dB, 48 volt phantom power, because we use a Bayer Dynamic D71C. Did the job great. Snare, we did tweak a little bit, added a little bit of attack from the Wave Transient Designer. Added a little body here around 167. Usually that snare, or the snare that we usually use with that band, is tuned a little higher. We tried to drop it a little bit, and usually it's the main frequency of that snare, the main hit of that snare is somewhere around 200, drop down to 167, and of course the harmonic on top at 382 that we killed down to have a really fat snare, no boxy, and had it just a tiny bit of definition in there. 160 again, gain to perfection, and the default setup was fine. Gated verb, I end up using that a lot. The default was 0.31 seconds or 0.30 seconds. 1 second was enough, or what we wanted in that room, in that particular room. But I didn't use much of the snare in the PA because in the room it was really loud, so I didn't have to play around with that. Hi-hat, well, EQ, not compressing at all. Like, this is just a safety net. I didn't gain it up all the way. I keep it really as a shy hi-hat gain wise. I don't think I even touched it. Well, 7.5, yeah, but it was not even close to hitting minus 19. I didn't need much. Hi-hat in the kit. Tom, this is where we start to have fun. Source extractor worked really well. That EQ worked really well. Compression, again, I just gained it up until we were fine there, so nothing to talk about. Same for both Tom. The only thing that we change is the EQ. So this was a starting point. This was a starting point. On the second floor tom, I had to get a little bit of the stick hit out of the floor, around that 2.5K. I just needed to 2.36. I just needed to take that out to make it sound more natural, and that's about it. Overhead, didn't use much. The room was kind of small, you know. I was under a roof that could hold a few hundred people, so a lot of those high frequency were bouncing around. I didn't have to put any in the PA. The guy in the ears also had a lot of cymbals coming from the mic, so didn't really put that much overhead. Maybe some guys did push a little bit on the overhead, but they were not gained that high. 10 is like not even close to hit minus 18, so we were fine. Ride, we didn't use it, so nothing happened there. Thing that we did use and did change is the bass. EQ was perfect. We use a quad cortex with my friend Denny. Isrig is sounding great. He's using a blend of amp and DI, so there was nothing to tweak about it. It's just, or I just leave it the way it is. It's just working in the mix. This is where we added a little bit of crunchiness. I turned down the harmonic, so I went to second harmonic, rigged the drive to 85%, so just to give it a little color. Like, if you take it off, you're gonna hear that the bass is more clean, but it doesn't sound like a dirty bass. And after that, 1176, but that was always under compression. I like my 1176 to be always under, like, every time that a note has been played, the needle's gonna kick in, and just before the note is dying on the bass, he's gonna hit the next one. And I just love how juicy of a bass I could get. Mwah. Loving it. My friend Simon's guitar, we did a little bit of EQ. He only used an acoustic, so we had to cut just a cut here at 187. Sorry, looking at the EQ here. 187 for a feedback. It was about to ring. Just a tiny bit of mid-range that we had to take out, and of course we used the I-cut at 10K just to get a little bit of the pick out, the scratchy high-end noise out of it. Guitar, nothing. We didn't change anything, just a low cut. It was working fine. It was my friend Jay. I know it says Vince here on top, but it was my friend Jay. Salut Jay, si jamais t'écoutes. And basically his aux is sounding fine. I don't EQ it. I just leave it to the choice of the guy. Like, whatever you program in there, this is what you're gonna get. We end up with guitar that were a little too wet. We spoke about the show about that. The console, not the console. Sorry, I'm reading Rob comment in between. The guitar was a little too wet because we were in a room that was really present. It was good sounding, but we had a natural reverb in there. So we talked about it, and I was like, yeah, maybe you can. I know it's going to be dry for you here, but maybe in those events because you have the room. The front of house is what really matter at the end of the day. Maybe try to turn down the reverb just a tiny bit, and we did a great job. Keyboard, I had to EQ for one song, one particular tone, where we had way too much sub information, and just for some reason a little too much for 457. Just in one song, turning on one song, turn it off after. Everything else was working just fine. Vocal, we didn't change much, except for my friend Simon. Because of the room, I had to turn down a lot of 275, 300, all that area here. It was getting muddy. 1.5K is a classic, or 171 is a classic for him. Depending on the day, his voice probably gonna have a little too much in that range ish. Maybe that what I did was a little higher, more around 2K, and the S's are around 7.5, 8K in that area. So I had to EQ that down just a tiny bit. PSC source extractor, all good. 1176 first, 1176 fast attack, faster release, input at 24 and 32 output. And then I use another EQ or another channel. I use the vintage channel mostly for another 1176. I just went to town with it and just like made this vocal a block. It didn't matter if he was talking in the mic, if he was screaming, it was the same freaking level. Nothing was moving. It was a solid in-your-face vocal, and I was able to just take that vocal and wrap that around some reverb, wrap that around some stuff when I wanted to do it, when I wanted to use the delay and stuff like that. But the vocal was a block of sound, not feedbacking at all. I know some people don't like to compress too much because you're bringing up a lot of background noise, but in this particular case, when he was talking in the mic, it was just fine. But when he was singing, he's a loud singer, I was able to just like get his vocal at the front. I made sure to not send that second compressor in the ears. I made sure that only the first one was going into the inner monitor, and the vintage one for front of house, this one was just for me to crank, and I had a good time with that. I didn't use the LA2A, but actually that could have been my channel strip. Maybe I would change the EQ for a regular EQ, but yeah, that's usually what I would use, two compressor back to back. I use the first, I use 1176 and 1176, but I could have done just this as an insert on the first block. Go 1176, not using that EQ, and going into the second one here just to make it a block. After that, my friend, well, it says Vince, but it was my friend Jay's vocal. That was fine. Gabrielle on the keyboard didn't move. Guillaume on the drum didn't move. Talkback didn't move. We added a mono synth, and just for fun, I added a rotary, which is basically a Leslie simulator. So it made that mono keyboard sound a little more stereo. Sounded really good. Saxophone didn't do much. No gate. Just a tiny bit of EQ. Oh, no compression. I could have compressed it a little bit if I were honest. Send that into reverb. My instrument reverb. We're gonna take a look at that in a few seconds. Sub kick, that didn't change. And fake bottom, I end up not using. It was not working the way that I wanted that to work with my snare. My current snare was sending a lot of high-end energy in that room, and I didn't feel the need to add more brightness or more snares to that sound or what I was getting from the mic. So no need to add that. Let's take a look at the effect. What we did, The drum room, we didn't change much, or nothing at all, I should say. It was fine the way it was. Instrument verb, just fine. Short vocal, I did play around just a tiny bit with it. Long vocal, I did play around with it, or I believe, I don't remember if I change it here, but that's usually my preset on the plate. I changed the low cut, but other than that, DK and everything, it's pretty much how it was. Delay, well, that's changing per song. The last one I needed a more slap reggae-ish, not too long, but I was getting a few repeats there. And chorus, I didn't end up using that much chorus, so here you go. Let's go where the fun is. Let's go on the main. On the main one, you're gonna say, hey, you did nothing. No compression, no EQ, no nothing. And no, I didn't. But we did add some matrices for that. We did add a matrix for sub, and I had to delay my sub by a few milliseconds, 3 feet to be transparent here. We did put a speaker manager on it so I can put a low cut. No EQ, no dynamic EQ, no nothing. I didn't have to do any of that stuff. Same for the top, but the top is where I EQ'd that a little bit. I EQ'd the PA just a tiny bit. It's a turbo sound kit, so I had to take out a little bit of 2.5K. All that region. Those PA are usually bright, and it's gonna show here. Basically, that's pretty much the main frequency of the room, and that's a little bit of the room, and also the PA being a tiny bit bright. I had 2 tops per side of the turbo, and it was fine. The subs were doing fine. I had a good time with that, but that's basically where I did most of my processing. It was on the matrix, not the main. The main I left flat, and the sub, if I had to correct something in the sub, I would leave it there, and if I had to correct something in the PA, I would leave it there. The only thing that I changed is the volume that I was sending to those subs. I did send a sub at 7.5 dB less than the tops. We had 5 sub as a front line and 2 tops per side. Not something that is end fire, not something that is cardioid, because for that band particularly, they like to feel the subs on the stage. I know it's not everybody that likes to have that, but they like to feel the sub on the stage. Which lead me to one last thing that we did. We added a drum sub monitor. I literally took a sub out of the PA, put it on stage next to my drummer, and just make him feel his bass drum from the subs. It's a strange relationship that you have to deal with the bass drum mic, because I'm using a kick in, because I have a drummer that hits really hard. I can make that happen. It's not gonna work with everybody, but if you have someone in your monitor, you can put a sub next to him, just with the plug in, but put a sub next to him so you can physically feel the bass. Amazing feeling. Best feeling in the world. Alright, let me see what's going on here. Sorry, Rob, I'm gonna take time to read your comment. I had a bit of gun last Friday. A band that I know asked if I was going to be possible to record the performance at a small event they had Dante, so I could up to the rack and get a nice multi-track. The main console, the main and monitor console was both an S7000. S7000 is the Allen one, if I'm correct. S7000, please confirm. It's not an SSL. That's a 4000. Those, if you add that, I would say don't bother with the wing. Just use that. It's probably gonna sound better, or maybe not. Let's be honest and say that nowadays consoles are just so freaking good. It's so easy to get good sound out of those things. Funny enough, I was talking yesterday with somebody that I worked at the Comic-Con, and he told me that he's recording voiceover, he's recording stuff at home for, different kind of project, and he basically told me that he understood over time that gain structure and compression is the way to go when it goes to recorded stuff. And I was like, yes. Also, mic placement is gonna do a lot of things, and if you got those things right, if you have mic placement right, if you have gain structure that makes sense, you're pretty much golden. You can do whatever you want with that thing. It doesn't matter if you have a wing or an SSL. Of course, you will hear a difference, but is it gonna be bad? I don't think so. Let's be honest. Most people nowadays in their basement, most bands in their basement have better gear available at the flip of a switch than most bands from the 70s and 80s had in studios. The fact that we have something like a wing compact, a wing rack, or even the full-size one, so powerful. We have great sounding microphone. We have in the back of those consoles great sounding preamp. But yeah, man, it's crazy. I would say nowadays we can stop bitching and say, you know what, dude, it's happening on your end. If it sucks, practice, get better, learn how to record better, learn how to perform better, and learn to put your heart and soul on your record, and that's gonna be it. It doesn't matter if you have Behringer, a HAL 80, or an SSL. You can make really, really good music. And nowadays we have some tools that we can use. Don't overdo it. Don't over AI your stuff, but sometimes asking for a little help or for a confirmation of what you're doing is not a bad thing. Okay. Change the subject. I actually want to have your opinion on that, so it's going to be time for you guys to jump in the chat and tell me what you think about the topic of the hour when it comes to technology and musicianship, because I think a lot of us here are working with musician or are working musician, and I see something that scares me just a tiny bit, and I want you guys' opinion on that. What do you think about the Velvet Sundown? For those of you who don't know, the Velvet Sundown is a 70s inspired band that is on pretty much all the playlists, from the classic movies, they're basically everywhere on Spotify. I don't know about iTunes, Apple Music, but they're basically everywhere. And as far as we know, everything about that band is AI generated. The song, the way that the music is written, and the picture and everything is AI generated, and these guys have probably close to 600,000 monthly listener on Spotify. I want you guys to give me your opinion about that, because I think this is a little bit scary to hear that a computer can randomly write music that makes sense, because at the end of the day it's math. I mean, it's just a mathematic thing, frequency and key wise, and you know what's working, what is not working, and you can tell a computer to sticks within those lines. I want you to give me pop music, so 4/4 beat, generate me some stuff like the music that we're hearing right now on the channel is a loop that I created with AI. I didn't play any of the instrument. I asked Logic to give me a beat. I worked, work with it a little bit. I drop down a bass line, I drop down some keyboards, a couple layer keyboards. I program some, or ask the AI to give me some pads, to give me some sustain, and there's a piano in there to give me some melodic change. But it's basically a 4/4 beat on a 16 bar loop. Then it's just looping forever. And it's fine for background music. It's great that we can have AI creating background music like that, because I don't need a full song, or I don't want a song actually for this type of scenario. I just want to have a background beat, kind of like radio is doing when the host is talking. Background beat, because just the vocal would be too dry. What do you guys think about AI? I'm gonna read in the dust comment while you guys tapping down what you think about AI. I actually started using the Wing as a multi-track recording setup. It's a lot more efficient than linking 4 polos and 2 ADAT preamp unit. Definitely, having the Wing with a stage box is probably the most efficient thing that you can get, or just a compact by itself, or a rack by itself. If you don't need more than 24 track, drop that in, bring a computer or not, drop an SD card in the back, make sure it's formatted to the right format, because I wanted to record the show that I did on Friday and my freaking card was not formatted in a way that the Wing could see it, and I was not able to format it from the console because it's 128 gig, and I had nothing with me to basically format it. So the card is recognized, it's there, but if I want to format it, then it will be erased. Card not supported. Error 1. Nothing I can do about it. I needed a computer. I'm gonna need to format it into a computer, and I have a video about that if you don't know how to use cards that are bigger than 32 gigabyte in your gigabyte. I believe it's gigabyte in the back of your Wing. So first comment here from Charlie, we have a boo. Kinda agreed, but my question is, are we losing musicianship? Are we losing the heart and soul of music, which is the expression of a human through an instrument? And multiple of these humans at the same time making something better than themselves. Like, every single of my favorite band is something that, it's just every musician is just a quarter of that band, or a fifth of that band, or you get the idea. It's layer over layer. It's that person backbeat over that bass line, over that, the way that the guitar is strummed and struck, and how the vocals sit on top of that, and together musicians make music. That's the basic for me. A good vibe. After that, all the business and the show business, because we have to see it as a show business. I'm working in the show business industry. All the business of the show business leads to stuff like the Velvet Sundown happening, where why would you bother with musician when you can create some fake-ish background music that nobody's really paying attention to, because it's so easy to just put on a Spotify playlist in the background, do your thing, cooking dinner, good vibe. It's not music anymore. And that's generated by a financial, at first, move, where if you can get spin on those AI track. All the money's going to someone. I don't know who. I'm gonna guess it's probably owned by Spotify. It's probably somebody working for Spotify that was asked to build those tracks with AI in that specific genre because it's getting popular. 70s music is getting popular now. Kids now, when they like Backside, the Backside of the Moon album, stuff like that. They discovered Pink Floyd, they discovered the Beatles, and they stick into that. We're kind of going into the generation of having a good time. So having a good time was the 70s, 60s, 80s, 70s. That period was good time. After that, we're probably gonna have a generation of frustrated kid where their parents didn't give a damn about whatever, and that's probably what the generation of I won't have children, but my grandson would put on his nerd. So every fourth generation, metal and heavy music and rebellious music's gonna come back. But that's just my personal opinion. But for now, we're going back into the 60s to late 80s vibe of good time, disco, good beat. People just want to have a good time. They don't care about anything. They just want to have, it's fun. The fun generation. They're not frustrated. They don't have ideas of defense. They're just unhurt to have fun. And yeah, because it's popular, people are trying to make profit out of that. So we'll see what's going on with that. But I'm curious to read in the Dust comment here. The AI ban thing is kind of getting out of place. It's getting to a place where it's able to fake what people spend years doing. Kind of don't agree with that, but let's keep going. It's kind of bringing back to the age of manufacturer ban, except without the ban. Yes, really, really good comment. The thing is, if you're a musician, and I don't want you to, I don't want to push you towards those AI ban, but I'm gonna say, go do a quick listen of those AI ban. The Velvet Sundown is probably one. Go listen to one song of Velvet Sundown and ban them from your list, so you don't ever have to listen to them again. I would say probably block them. I don't know if it's a thing on Spotify that you can say, don't ever give me that ban again, but maybe if people start to do that, they will try to push on musician. But go take a listen then, and I would say as soon as you start to pay attention to the detail, you're gonna see that something is wrong. It has a feel, it has a groove, but you can tell it's fake. You can tell it's not like it's MIDI fake. It feels at the same time too good and wrong. It feels perfect, but it feels synthetically perfect. Like it's trying to mimic the vinyl sound. It's trying to mimic the vinyl wave. The way that the things are bouncing, the way that the things are waving just a little bit. But it's also perfectly on grid and everything. And the way it's performed, it's like nobody will perform exactly like that. Because a band could perform that way, but if it was an image, it would be a out of focus Bob Ross painting. Like it would create like a flooded, out of focus thing where you kind of see, like from afar you see an image, but if you go close and you look at, like, well, it's flooded, it's not sharp, there is no definition in anything. But if you look back enough, it's gonna be okay. Looking good from afar, but far from good. That's my understanding of what AI is doing right now. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna get better, and maybe Maybe the Velvet Sundown is just a bad version of that, and there's a band somewhere that we think exists and actually doesn't because the AI did fake it well enough that we kind of get tricked. But as far as popular band goes, popular AI generated stuff, no. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we're getting there, because I don't know if you guys watch Linus Tech Tip, but I'm watching the One Show, which is basically his podcast with his friend Luke, and they said something about the technology, or that technology that's eventually gonna come down to bring back everything to. We're gonna cycle back, because if we end up on the internet looking for content, for how should I say it? If you end up looking for entertainment, and everything that you see is AI generated, and you see it as, okay, fine, it's gonna be AI generated, okay, cool, I accept that. Even if you're into that stuff, it's eventually gonna give more value to the stuff that's gonna feel real. It's gonna give more value to live performance, where people can go listen to musician live on stage. No AI, no corrected anything. It's gonna bring back the value, because everything that you will see online will be fake, AI generated, or manipulated in some way. So at some point there will be I think the vinyl revival is gonna get bigger. Basically, there will be a community of artists, and there will be one artist, I don't know which one, but there will be one artist that won't get onto streaming platform, that will probably record his album to tape, to real, like, 24 track tape, probably gonna master that on a 2-track, and you'll be able to purchase the cassette or the vinyl of that stuff, and it won't ever be available on digital platform. You will have to get an analog player to play that track. And I don't know who is going to become the big artist out of this way of moving things around. I'm not going to say that tape trading is going to come back, but it will feel... The reason why it will work and why people will give value to that, it's because it's a physical thing that you can have. It's a thing that you won't be able to get digitally, and it will give it value. And there will be one artist somewhere that is gonna be good enough, and it's gonna make people special. It's gonna make you feel special if you can hear that from a medium that is not available online. Somebody somewhere is gonna make that happen. I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know who, but eventually there will be an artist that's gonna say, I'm only gonna sell vinyls, and if you don't have a vinyl player, you cannot listen to that, and if you put that online, it will be turned down. We'll see. There is a site that you can enter. You can enter prompts, and it will make a metal song. It's like it was actually recorded, but the playing is too exact and has no real groove or no pocket to it. Yeah, it's too perfect. It's gonna be. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna feel synthetic. You cannot fake. We can actually fake drum, where you can pre-record snare and kick hit and cymbals, and basically put that together on a grid, and it's gonna make a beat out of it, but it's real drum. Somebody recorded those snare hits in a good sounding room with good sounding instrument. Guitar is a little harder to fake because of distortion, because pushing on a pickup, and I'm playing guitar, so maybe I'm gonna explain that better, because I know the feeling of pushing energy onto an instrument and having an amp reacting away, and the amp is becoming reactive to your playing. On an electric guitar, if you strum really, really light, you're not gonna get distortion. If you're bashing on it, you're gonna get more distortion, because there's basically the volume of what you send into that amp is determined by the pick. Same for bass, same for instrument that you play, or I mean, a piano is the same thing. Basically, strings instrument or instrument that you have to put the energy into it. It's gonna be that. Keyboards, most of them that are not piano, those can be fake, because it's just that it just have to be on time, and it's opening up a sample. It's gonna be on time, but all that to say that the interaction of the player with the instrument is gonna have a difference. I know Glenn Fricker has a video where he said that tone is in the gear, not in the hand, and he basically proved his point. And I'm not gonna say that he's wrong. I'm gonna say that it's not the full story. The way that you perform on an instrument, your time feel, your energy, the way that it's every single extension, or every instrument is your extension of your personality. And I had that discussion with a friend of mine, actually my friend Simon, whose show is there, and we were talking about drummer, and how that drummer playing an acoustic instrument like a drum is the way that he's gonna play overall is an extension of his personality. And we kind of both agreed on, yeah, that guy with that vibe has that personality. It's an extension of his personality that is, is coming through the drum hit, or coming in the choice of tone, in the choice of cymbals, and choice of tuning for the drum. If you have a guy, that is a really laid back dude, his drum's gonna sound laid back. He's gonna have, maybe not the most precise touch on the drum, where some people will be mathematician of like getting drum hits at the right place, and the energy, the feel. It's an acoustic instrument. The feel that humans give to an acoustic instrument is what you hear through that instrument, and it's reflected on records, on everything. And this is why, sadly enough, some people are gonna make it, some people are gonna have a harder time, getting the response that they want out of making music, because it's just the vibe. Some people are not good at putting that vibe on records. Some people are naturally talented at putting a really good vibe on a recording. Recording and playing live is two different things. Recording and a recording, and I'm not trying to phrase that correctly. A recording is a snapshot of a feeling that you put on tape, and you have to live, feel, and breathe that feeling for you to put it correctly on tape. Live, you can have a bad night and nobody will care, but it's also going to reflect your feeling, but in a different way, in a less isolated way. Of course, it's all dependent of if you are recording a band at the same time in the studio. If you're not, it's musicianship. Basically, it's musicianship. Sorry, you got my attention here at James Hetfield. Your comment says it's a lot like James Hetfield on guitar. you can feel and hear those constant downpick. Yes. And many jazz drummers have amazing feeling and dynamic too, definitely. Of course, if we're talking about head feel, I'm a Metallica fan, so I kind of listened to some interview, and when I was younger, I was really putting those guys high on a pedestal. I believe that James Hetfield was the god of musician, or the greatest of all time. And I think guitar player wise, rhythm guitar wise, I think James Hetfield is the greatest of all time, and for a bunch of different reasons. He's the greatest of all time in many categories. Time feel live is amazing. Playing live is playing is clean, it's good, it's constant or consistent. And in the studio, he can really take time to match his ID, his feeling to his vocal. He basically, the way he's working, it's really funny. He's laying down the perfect song, music-wise. He's laying down the perfect music track, and after that, he basically listened to the track, read what this music should be about, or what his feeling are about when he tracked down those guitar, and he put on lyrics that reflect that. So he's basically one up his music every time with his lyrics, and this is why I believe some of his lyrics are moving people all around the planet. I think Metallica is a big enough band that I could say that they move emotion, and they move feelings, and they make people feel different things all around the globe. Is it everybody's cup of tea? No. Is it something that really related to me, a 14, 15, 16-year-old French Canadian in a small town, next to the city of Montreal, suburbs kid that went through things? It made me feel something. It was there. It was explaining to me my feelings that I had when I was that age and I was going through whatever I was going through. So, try to make that happen with AI. Try to, just try it. It's not gonna happen. Same reason why I still have hope in music nowadays. It's for kids like Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish is one of the greatest artists, or one of the greatest recently released artists that's been moving people a lot. Her first album, I believe, is When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Was recorded without autotune, without really intervention on the vocal. They just took time to nail it down. They did take after take after take. They took 1 year to record the album, rewrite it, rearranging stuff, and when it was done, they sent that to a mixer that took time to make it feel the way it feel, and it reflects, the mixer listened to the song before he mixed them to make sure that the intention was there, but also when they recorded it, they had all the intention in the world to make it sound like it did. So they had all the elements that just needed to be put in place at the right level. It's like doing a recipe, and you need all the ingredients, and you need enough of them and not too much in your recipe. If you have too much of something, you can't take it out. When mixing, it's a little different, where you have a second pass. You can always rewrite stuff if needed, but you need to have all the ingredients. And I know Billy and her brother Phineas, they basically put together the perfect recipe for all these songs, and the feeling had to be there, and I think Billy really took time to put those feeling on the tracks. And if you want to hear what I'm talking about, and you have a Mac, go download the demo file, the demo for Logic, which is a song by Billie Eilish. And I want to say it out of the top of my head, and I don't remember what it is. If anybody in the chat knows that, but Ocean Eye. It's Ocean Eye. Then you have all the takes available to you, and you can listen to the takes, and you can hear her go like, "No, it's not good. Okay, cut that." It's not in the final composition, but the few bar before and the few bar after were good, so they kept that. And they didn't settle for good enough. They settled for that's how it's gonna be. Is it perfect? No. Is it what it should be? The answer is yes. And this is the hard part that people can't really understand. It should be this way. Is it perfect? It will never be perfect, but it's the right thing to do. And right cannot be, it can be felt, but it's really hard to explain. Anyway, I'm degrading a lot today. We're sorry, I didn't thought we would go on for this long on the AI stuff and my opinion of music. Probably a lot of people are going to tune out of this one. I don't care if you made it to this point in the stream so far, in live and in replay. Make sure to leave a comment. Your opinion matters to me. Give me your opinion. Tell me what you think about that stuff. If nobody's listening, well, there we go. This is streaming for you guys. Sometimes we're gonna talk about a lot of cool things that has to do with live sound. Sometimes we're gonna talk about other things that has nothing to do with live sound, but are really relevant because it's part of the music. Funny enough, Friday I was introduced as a musician of the band, and I don't think my friend Simon ever introduced me as a musician before, and it rang a bell for me. Like, as sound engineer, if you are mixing in a non-robotic way, if you are mixing with feeling, if you are mixing with a vibe, if you add to the music, if you add effects, you add a vibe, you add a groove, you play around with the musician, and you get into the mindset of being with the band and basically read what's happening with the band on stage, and you try to replicate that and put your twist on it. You become a musician. You become a musician with the band. You're a part of the band. If you know what's gonna happen and you mix accordingly and you add effect here and there and you slowly build some stuff with the band, you're a musician. You're playing consoles. Not a lot of people are playing consoles. Some people are squared, I don't know. Some people are turning knobs. Some people are using consoles in effects to play around with the music. You give it a vibe. And I'm gonna hate what I'm gonna say right now, but kind of like a DJ doing a remix. Not the same thing, but if you can, you have an influence on the band. You have an influence on the whole thing. You're part of the show. You're part of what makes a show great. You're a musician. It's already been an hour since we started this stream. I didn't plan for that to end up the way that we're gonna end that today. I'm gonna need to run. I'm gonna need to get ready for my show this afternoon. I have some stuff to check out. I have to get some invoicing to be done over the weekend, because yes, that's running a company for you guys. You need to play around with invoice and everything, and you have to be on top of your game when it comes to that. So, on that note, thank you so much for watching. I didn't think I would give my heart out like I did. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see probably more stuff about the console, but subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. If you made it this far, you're definitely gonna have fun around here. Until the next one, except maybe you can expect some random live stream this week again. I really enjoyed doing that last week, and I have some stuff that I need to play around with the DL and the DL8, the Hub 4 Pro, and other stuff. Till the next one, what do you guys say? Please take care of yourself, and I see you all